Hello again, folks. It's Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair, and the subject of today's video is going to be the broken plastic head mount brackets that are found on just literally thousands of different models. This is usually contained in the very popular Mitsumi mechanism, and I'll see if we can get that on camera. There's the actual mechanism that will be that we're doing some work on here. See if we can get a good zoom on that. This is probably this is unquestionably the most popular mechanism out there. It was used in just thousands of different models. Right now I'm working on a sound design tabletop console with a AM, FM, cassette, 8-track, and turntable. This is the mechanism used in that unit, and the main point that I'm making on this video is the plastic head mount bracket. Here is our head, and then here's the plastic bracket it mounts into. And so we're going to take a little close-up from the overhead view, if I can find that. Let's see here. Alrighty, and here's that plastic head mount bracket right there, and we'll kind of turn the unit so you can see it all around, and we'll look and take a peek inside the tape door, and you can see pretty much the whole thing. That plastic bracket, of course, surrounds the head, and then it has a screw that comes down through the center to keep that head clamped in place. And the reason that this head mount is very often cracked, it's miraculous that this one's not cracked, but almost all of them, if you look inside your unit, almost all of them are going to show some signs of cracking. And here's one. Let's see if we can find. Here's a deck that I've got that I've yet to work on, and we'll take a look at this one. And on this deck, you can see that the top piece is completely broken off. It cracked on both the top left and right sides. And here's the head that's supposed to be going inside of it. Naturally, it couldn't hold it anymore. The head was just kind of lying inside the unit. And then to make matters even more complicated, on most units there's a little grounding piece that also needs to be screwed down against the head, and that prevents static buildup and all that stuff. So here's that. Here's a picture of the broken mount, and see if we can peek inside the unit, and you can see that mount. The top is completely missing from that mount. You can just barely see it amid all the wiring mess I've got over here. But anyway, we'll take a little close-up, and I'll show you what I do to repair this bracket. And this applies to nearly all units that come in with a plastic head mount bracket are going to get this treatment because it's just the best solution for long-term reliability. So let's take a close-up from above of the unit that I'm working on now, the sound design, and here's basically the repair work I did on the bracket. Now, one thing I'll say is that this screw coming down holding the head in place, well, that of course keeps this plastic bracket under constant tension, and that's why it starts to crack over the years. As you might know, plastic becomes brittle over the years when it's exposed to dryness and humidity and stuff like that. The plastic simply just can't hold up, and as you can see, the crack on the top where the screws in is still visible. You can still see that crack, but this bracket is never going to crack again, and that crack is not going to widen, because what I do is I take a piece of 20 gauge steel wire and I wrap it around the bracket using a soldering iron to kind of embed it into the plastic somewhat. As you can see, it's not the neatest job in the world, but it works great. And I just wrap this steel 20 gauge steel wire around the bracket, and then where the two ends meet, of course, I solder it together so that bracket will never crack again. And then at this point, we can now put our head back in there, get that grounding piece back in there, and screw the screw down nice and tight. And as you can see, that this head is very firmly held in place now, but there's no further cracking of the bracket. So that's this is be a short video just to show you what I do to the plastic head mount bracket to make sure that it doesn't crack again. Now, even if it's cracked just a little bit, the main reason that I repair it is because the distance between there's like a safety guard band between the tracks naturally there has to be a little bit of a space between the tracks so that the head can be adjusted to reproduce only the track it's supposed to reproduce. So there's a little bit of a guard band, what they call it, between the tracks. And that guard band on an 8-track player is only about the width of maybe 2 or 3 human hairs. It's just a very tiny amount of guard band. So when this bracket starts to crack just a little bit, it's going to throw your head out of alignment. And you can readjust it, of course, but it's just going to keep cracking, and you'll just have to keep readjusting it. And another factor is, you can dribble some epoxy around the whole thing, and that'll hold it in place for a while. But the thing about epoxy is that it dries extremely hard, and the harder something is, the more brittle it is. So even that epoxy most likely is going to crack again sometime in the future. So that's why we go towards the at Barry's 8-track repair. I go the whole way, basically. I go the extra mile, and I actually get a piece of steel around that bracket to reinforce it. So I'll be doing the final pre-shipment test on this entire unit probably on my next video, but I just kind of wanted to share you guys a measure of the quality that I put into my work, and my special emphasis on long-term reliability. And that's why my warranty return rate is about half of 1%. That's out of every 200 units, one might come back, and that's a pretty good record. And that record is also proven on my website. If you go to the, it's not one of the tabs, but if you go to barry's8trackrepair.com/credentials with a capital C, you'll see documentation from my last day job as an avionics technician working in a licensed FAA repair station. And you can see that I don't just say this stuff to sound good. There are actual records of my performance reviews and my statistics as a technician, how many units I repaired, my warranty return rate, just all kinds of records. And as far as I know, mine is the only shop to offer this kind of third-party documentation to support my claims. So that was the only thing that I wanted to state in this particular video. This is all about what I do to repair the head mount bracket. So on that happy note, I'm going to get out of here and get back to work on this fine machine. This is Barry at Barry's 8-track repair, sometimes also called Barry's 8-track and classic car radio repair. Needless to say, if you have an 8-track unit for home or for car use, I'm your guy to fix it. And I also do FM conversions on classic car AM radios. I can add Bluetooth, USB reader, auxiliary input, and maybe even a few other cool things. So my number is 928-533-9666. My website is in the description below. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.